Implementing and managing IPAM. IPAM means IP address management. Now in this we will see overview of IPAM, we will see the deploying of IPAM, and we can see how we can manage IP address spaces with IPAM. Now first, what is IPAM? It is in a network, managing the allocation of IP addresses can be a complex task, and in a large network. So when you have a large network and you want to manage the IP addresses, now even from DHCP, still it becomes a very complex task. Sometimes we are using the DHCP. DHCP will do automatically distribute the IP address to all the clients, but it is a large network where we have to use the static IP addresses also. We can't use every machine a dynamic IP. So we are using the static IPs also, we are using the DHCP which is providing the IP addresses also. Then we have to manage all those IP addresses, things like what is the static IPs addresses I have used, what are the dynamic IP addresses I have configuring, and what are the DNS servers are doing, because DNS servers also do what they do, the name resolution, IP address to name, name to IP address, and those IP addresses will be updating, keep changing, so they have to update it into DNS also. So we have multiple DNS servers also, we have multiple DHCP servers maybe in a large network. So this IPAM is basically is for the large network. When managing the allocation, managing and the allocation of IP address can be a complex task. So IPM provides a framework for discovering, auditing and managing the IP address space of your network, and it enables you to monitor and administer both DHCP and DNS, and it provides a comprehensive view of where specific IP addresses are allocated. So with using the IPM in a centralized server, we can do what? We can manage all the DNS, DHCP servers and even the static IP addresses which we have given to a specific clients. So we can manage all these static IP addresses, dynamic IP addresses, DNS from the single point, and that is what IPM. So IPM consists of 4 modules that provide the following functionality. It provides IPAM discovery, which discovers automatically what are the IP addresses there, DHCP and DNS. Then IP addresses space management. We can manage the IP addresses spaces, whether we have used it for the dynamic or static. Then multi-server management and monitoring. We can manage multi-servers like multiple DHCP servers and DNS servers, and network security, network policy servers. Then operational auditing and IP address tracking. So we can track that what IP addresses are in use, what are not used. We can also do the auditing also. Now IPAM architecture. IPAM consists of 2 main components. One, IPAM server. This IPAM server performs data collection from the managed server. Now managed server, that means the servers which is DHCP, DNS, network policy server, domain controllers. So it collects the data from those servers, that is IPAM server. Then IPAM client. IPAM client, that means the IPM client provides the client computer interface and interacts with the IPM server. So IPM clients are the servers which is DHCP, DNS, they are considered as the IPM client. Now when deploying IPM, you can select from 3 topologies. So we can select 3 topologies when we are deploying the IPM. So IPM deploying distributed, we can select the distributed topology. That means we will deploy an IPM server to each site in your forest. That means we have a forest. In a forest we have multiple domains, and those domains are divided into multiple different sites. Sites are divided into physical view. That means in a one city we have one site, another city we have another site, another country we have another site. These sites define the physical boundary. So we can do what? We can create different IPM for different sites. So the one site should not go to manage the other site. IPM server from one site will not try to manage the servers from the other site. For every site we will have a IPM server for their particular site. We can use the centralized also. Centralized means deploy a single IPM server for your entire forest. Then we can use hybrid topology also. In addition to the centralized IPM server, that means we have a centralized IPM server, you also can deploy an IPM server to each site. So also we can deploy IPM server for different sites also. So these are the topology you have to decide before deploying the IPAM. Then in IPAM deployment requirement, what are the requirement we have? First, to ensure the successful IPAM implementation, an organization network infrastructure must meet these following prerequisites. First, IPAM server must be a domain member. That means the IPAM server which we are configuring, it must be member of the domain. Then IPAM server should be a single purpose server. That means that will be only IPAM server, that means it is only managing the IPAM role, it is not doing anything else. Then to manage the IPv6 address spaces, enable the IPv6 on the IPAM server also. Then sign in the IPAM server, that means in the IPAM server network configuration we should enable IPv6 also, so that it can manage the IPv6 network also. Then sign in the IPAM server with the domain account. That means we have to sign in to the IPAM server with using the domain account, not the local account. Belong to the correct IPAM local security group on the IPAM server, and also you should belong to the correct security group which is having the permission to manage the particular server, that is local administrators. Then enable logging of account sign-in events for IPAM's IP addresses tracking and auditing feature. Then meet the software and hardware requirement. Now consideration for IPAM deployment. So when designing an IPAM deployment, consider the following factors. First, you can manage multiple ADDS forests if the required trusted exists between those forests. So with the single IPAM server, we can even manage multiple forests also. But for doing that, we should have a proper trust relationship created between multiple forests. Then IPM servers do not communicate with one another. So one IPM server will not do the communication to other IPM server. It will only connect those DNS, DHCP servers. So you can define the scope of discovery to a subnet of domains in the forest. And also when we configure the IPM server, we will define the scope for the discovery. That means what we want to discover, where we want to discover all the available DHCP, DNS and IP addresses. A single IPM server can support many DHCP servers and DNS zones. IPAM stores 3 years of forensic data. It can store 3 years of forensic data. Then IPAM support Windows internal database or Microsoft SQL Server database. That means when we configure the IPM, so we can use Windows internal database if suppose our data is not that big, but if we are managing a large number of data, then we should use the SQL Server database, Microsoft SQL Server, and it can also connect to Microsoft SQL Server database. Now IP address utilization trends are provided only for IPv4, and IP address reclamation support is provided only for IPv4. These features are not supported for IPv6. Now IPAM does not check for IP address consistency with routers and switches. So it will not check anything related to routers and switches. It will not check the consistency. It will only check the availability of the IP addresses and the allocation of IP addresses. Then integrating IPAM with virtual machine manager. Now this virtual machine manager comes with the with a centralized tool which is used to manage all the virtual machines in our subnet. It is called SVV, the centralized virtual machine manager. Now in that virtual machine manager we can enable IPAM feature, and in that IPAM feature we can use to manage the virtual machines network also. Now that is another software which we have to install in Windows Server. It is not by default available in server. Now deploying the IPAM. So for deploying the IPAM, this is the process for deploying the IPAM. So first install the IPAM server feature in server, then provision the IPAM server, and then configure and run the server discovery. That means first we have to install the IPAM server feature. It comes as a feature in our server 2016. Then we have to provision the IPAM server. Provision, that means we have to configure the IPAM server with the settings. Then we will configure and run the server discovery. That means we want to discover all the DHCP, DNS servers available in our domain or forest. Then we will choose and manage the discover server. In a third step, it will discover the servers, and then we have to manage those servers. We have to select and we have to configure the servers which we want to manage them. So this is the process, and this is the process we use to configure the IPAM server. Now let's see how we can configure it in our server 2016. Now this is server 1, and this server 1 is our Active Directory server. It is also our DNS server. Now I'm going to configure it on another server which is our member of the domain, that is server 2. So the requirement is that the server where you are configuring the IPAM, it must be a member of the domain. Then it should be another server, separate server. So it is a good idea to use a separate server. So I'm going to use a separate server for it, and I'm going to use the server 2. And this is our server 2. So here we are going to configure the IPAM. So first we have to install the feature. So we'll go to manage, add, remove roles and features, and then here we will go next, role based installation. This is our server, and this is not a role, so it is not, you will not find it under the roles. You will go next, and under the features you will find this IPAM here, IP address management server, IPAM server. So we select this and install this with the features. So whatever the feature required, you can see .NET frameworks and group policy objects and anything. So you just select it and install it. Restart if it requires and install. So it is going to take a little time to install. So when it is finished, then we can go and configure it. We can do the provisioning. Now after installing the feature, we can close it here, and now after the installation we can see the IPAM option here. Now if we want to manage the IPAM, so we have to go to select this. So when you select this, you will see the options of IPAM. So I will select this IPAM here, and it will now show me the options of IPAM here. Now this is the overview, and here you will see this is not configured here, but it will show you here that how you can configure. Now first you have to do this, then second you have to do this, then third you will do this, fourth you will do this, fifth and sixth what you will do. So it is saying first to connect the IPAM server. So right now this is the server, it is itself, this server 2 itself an IPAM server, so it is automatically connected here. It is saying that connected to server 2, it is already connected. So we don't have to connect it, and it is also connected as a administrator, domain administrator. So we don't have to connect it now again, it is already connected. Now if it is a different IPAM server we have, then we can, or if it is not showing here connected, then we can go on to select connect. And here you have to give the name of the server, and then you can press OK, and then it will try to find it and try to connect it. But it is already connected because this is the server itself. Server 2 itself is an IPAM server we have installed here. Now after we have connected to the server, then we can go on to provision the server, and we can configure the server. Provision, that means we will configure the server, this IPAM server. So next step is to provision the server. So we select on this, provision the IPAM server. Now when we click on it, it will open this wizard. Now from here we have to read what it is saying here. Now you should read it because it is saying some important things. What it is saying here, that IPAM server provides a centralized management, monitoring and auditing platform for IP addresses and corresponding infrastructure servers on your network. And IPAM provides this functionality by accessing the following Windows servers. So what it will access the DHCP server, DNS server, network policy servers, and also Active Directory domain controllers. Then it says you can choose these servers to managed or unmanaged by IPAM, and managed servers must be configured with access settings that allow IPAM to remotely manage, monitor and audit them. And you can either configure these settings manually or each server, or IPAM can provision managed servers automatically using the group policy object. So the servers which it can manage is DHCP, DNS, network policy, Active Directory. Now it can connect, it can access these servers. Now which server you want to manage, you have to configure that server to manage or unmanage. So manage servers, that means the manage server, that means it can manage from the IPAM, and we can manage those servers from IPAM. Unmanaged, that means it can only get the information but we cannot manage it. So managed servers, we have to configure the managed servers, and also we have to configure each and every server manually to manage from the IPAM server. That means we have to configure the remote configuration, firewall settings, we have to enable lots of things and everything, so that we can allow the servers to be managed from IPAM. Now doing manually can be difficult, so what we can do, we can use the IPAM group policy object. We can use a group policy object, and that group policy will, when the group policy is applied on the servers, so it will do the required changes to manage the server from IPAM. So we can use the group policy, that will be easy for us. This wizard allow you to choose optionally create IPAM database, local security group are also created during this provisioning and can be used to assign administrative rules. So it will also create the group access groups, so we can create security or access groups for this IPAM server to be managed, and for assigning the different administrative roles to different users. Remember, this IPAM server is for the big environment, so one user cannot manage everything, so we can give a different user a different roles from this local security groups of IPAM. So now we know what we are doing here, so we will go on to select next. So I will go on to select next. Now in the next step, what it says, you want to select which database. So by default it is selecting the Windows internal database, and that will be store the data here. Now if your data is small and it is not that big enough, so you can select the Windows internal database. But if you are having a big database, then you should select the Microsoft SQL server. So when you select the Microsoft SQL server, so it will ask who is your server, what is your server name, what is the database name which you have created on that server, and what is the port. And also it is going to create the schema. So if you have already configured the SQL database server, and on that database server you have created a database for this IPAM, so you can select the server with the database. But if you don't have that, then you can go on for using the Windows internal database. So I'll go with this internal database because our database is not that big. Now here it is saying that how you want to provision the servers to manage, that means the server which you want to manage. So how you provision those servers, will do manual or you will use the group policy based. When you do the manual, that means the provisioning method requires that you configure the required network shares, security groups and firewall rules manually on each managed server. So these things you have to do it manually on each and every server you want to manage, or otherwise you can use the group policy object. Now group policy object, that means it will create a group policy under the domain, so that it will apply to all the members of the domain, and it will apply to all the servers which is going to be managed from the IPAM server, and it will do configure the network shares, security groups and firewalls through the group policy. So this is the easy way to do. So I will select the group policy based, and it is the right one. Now it is asking us to choose the group policy prefix. Now it is a prefix, that means the starting of the group policy. So you have to select the proper prefix first, then at the end it will add the policy name based on the like DHCP, DNS and all. So it is going to create that policy for the different type of servers with the prefix which we mentioned here. Now it is not going to create the policy. Remember, it is only creating, we are only adding the prefix here. That means it will include all the policies which will have this prefix, but the policy will be created after the provisioning. That will be created manually by using this invoke IPAM GPU provisioning command. So we have to use this command from the PowerShell to create the policies. This provisioning will not create any policy, it will only asking for the prefix of the name. So when we are creating the policy, so we will use the name which we are mentioning here. So for example, I say the IPAM, we can give any name, I am giving IPAM here. So when I am creating the policy for this IPAM server with this invoke command, So I will use this prefix IPAM so that it will create the policy with the same prefix name. You can give any prefix name here. So when you give the name here, so the policies will be created like this. You can say the prefix is IPAM, then D for DSCP, it will create IPAM underscore DSCP for DSCP server, IPAM underscore DNS for DNS servers, and IPAM underscore DC NPS for domain controllers and NPS network policy servers. Now these policies we have to create manually by using the invoke command. So we are done with the policy provisioning, this IPAM provisioning. This is the summary of what we have selected. Now we can select to apply. And it is now provisioning. It will take a little time to complete. Now the IPAM provisioning is completed successfully. It is already completed now. The what is next? It is saying here the next step, create the GPO in each IPM managed domain using the invoke command. So you have to create the group policy object in every domain by using the invoke command, so that you can you can apply the policy on all the servers which you want to manage. So after provisioning, you will see these options available here. These options are now available, but we don't have any server selected here. Why? Because first we have to configure the server for discovery. Right now there is no domain selected to discovery. That means this option will do what? It will discover all the DNS servers, DSCP servers, or the domain controllers, network policy servers in the particular domain which we select here. Right now it is not selected any. So we have to select the domain first, so that we can do the discovery on that domain. So for that I will do what? I will click on it, and here it should say it should show here the forest and domain. It is not showing any here because we have to refresh the view. Okay, now after a little refresh, then we can go on to select this again, and okay, it is not refreshed. Now it is refreshed. It took a little time. So now when you open this to discover, it shows your current domain. So it is showing here that your current forest is this, and this is the root domain of your forest. So if you are trusted with others, so you can see the other forest also, but in the forest if you have other domains, then you can see the other domains here. Right now we have the same root domain here. So we selected this. Now what? I will add this domain to discover the discover the servers. So I will add it here. Now under the domain, what it is going to discover? Domain controllers, DSCP servers, and DNS server. If suppose you don't want to discover anything, like suppose you don't want to discover the domain controllers, then you can remove it from here. Or you want to discover this, and then you want to discover it from other domain, then you can select the other domains also. Right now I have only one domain here. Now for example, one more thing it is saying here, for group policy based provisioning, create the group policy for each domain in the list using the PowerShell. So it is saying again that you have to create the domain, and then it is showing that the next schedule run. That means it is going to discover, when I press OK, it is going to discover this, and this is the next schedule when it is going to discover the servers in that domain. So I will say OK, do this now. So it is now selected and it is set to discover that on that particular time, but I want to discover it right now. So what I will do, I will do the start server discovery right now. So when I want to discover, we have selected the domain. Now I don't want to wait for the schedule, so I will do what? I will start the discovery right now, and this will do what? It will do the discovery of all those domain controllers, DNS, and every other DNS server and DSCP servers available in our network. So it is doing this here. You can see it is loading here, and after when it loads, then it will show you the message here that it has been loaded and discovered. So I will remove this message so that we can see the other message, and it is discovering, and it will take a little time to discover it. So after doing the discovering, what we have to do, we have to run this command to create these group policies. These group policies will be created under the domain, and we can use this command to create. Invoke IPM GPU provisioning domain name. Our domain name is sai.com. Then GPU prefix name. This is the prefix we have to mention, the prefix which we have mentioned in the provisioning. Then we have to mention the IPM server's FQDN fully qualified name, that is our server2.sai.com, and a delegate GPU user, that is the user which is going to delegate the policy in the domain, and that is what the domain administrator. So when you run this command, it will says that you want to do it yes or no. So when you do yes, then it will create new policies under the domain, and under the domain it will create the policies related to DHCP, DNS and DCN NPS with the prefix what we have configured here. Now discovery is done. Now after the discovery, now we can see the servers here. We can select or add the server to manage and verify. So we can select here to go to this tab. It is actually overview here, and when you select this, so it will take you to this server inventory. Now under the server inventory, it shows that what servers they have, it has detected, and you can see here it has detected these servers, server 1 which is having DC and DNS, and also we have server 3 which has DHCP installed, and these are the IP addresses of those servers. So we have discovered, it has discovered two servers in our domain, one which is domain controller and DNS, and the other one is our DHCP server. Now it is saying here what is the set manageability status is unspecified, because we have not specified any status, and currently the status is blocking. So if we want to manage this server from IPM, then what we have to do, we have to change the manage setting from block to unblock. So what we have to do, we have to right click on it, and then we have to edit the server. Now before managing this, before enabling this management, first we have to make sure the policy is created and applied on all these servers, so that they will allow us to manage it from remotely from this IPM server. So before doing this, what we will do, we will run the command to generate the policy, and that policy will be created under the domain policy. This is our server 1 which is a domain controller, and under the domain controller we have a group policy here under group policy management. So under that domain policies, it will create those policies after we run that command. This is group policy management. Under the forest we have these domains. This is our domain, and under a domain we have only this default domain policy. Now after creating that, it will create those policies here. So I will go to my server here. This is our IPM server, and I will open PowerShell as an administrator, and I will run the command to generate the policy. I will run invoke IPM GPU provisioning, the domain name, then GPU prefix is IPM, then FQDN for the server, IPM server is server2.sai.com, and the delegated administrator, the user is administrator. Yes, I want to do this, and it is validating parameters, and then it is creating GPUs. Now what it do here, it will create the policies under the domain, under the group policy management. Now we have to make sure the policy is applied to all the servers which we want to manage. So after running that command, it will create policies here. When we refresh it, it will show the policies here when it is created. Now we can see here the policies are created here: IPAM, DCNPS, IPAM DHCP, IPAM DNS. Now we have to make sure these policies are applied to the domain, applied to domain and all the machines in the domain. And for that, what we will do, we will run the command gp update. Gp update, it is going to update in a time, but I want to update it right now, so I will use this gp update command to update them right now on all the servers under this domain controller. Then I will go to all the other servers and update this. Now after creating the group policy, we should apply the group policy on everyone. It will take time. Now till then we will do what? We will configure these servers to be managed. So for that, what we have to do, we have to right click on those server and select edit server, and from here right now it is selected as a DHCP server. This is a server 3, it is having only DHCP role. Now if it is having DNS and it is not detecting, then we can select it manually also. Now right now it is selected unspecified of manageability status, and that is why it is saying blocked. So what we have to do, we have to select here to manage. Now remember, if we want to manage it, then only we select it to manage. So I want to manage it from here, so I select managed and OK. Now it is saying updating the group policy failed. Now it is trying to update the group policies, and it will take a little time, and then it says what? It is blocked. So it is not updating. The group policies is still not updated. So you see this cross symbol here. When the group policy is properly updated, then you will not see anything there, and you will see that you can manage the server. Again, it is the problem for the group policy. So when the group policy is updated, it is updating. So when it is updated, then you can see it here. It is managed. It is available for management. So after the group policy is updated, then we can manage those servers. That means when you go to overview, so after selecting the server for management, we can retrieve the data from the managed servers, and then what we can do, get the data here. You can get the data for the DHCP here. You can see all the scopes here. You can see the zones here. Then you can manage them from here. You can create the IP addresses block for also. Now it is still not updating. So after updating, it will available. Now this is how we can do configure the IPAM server and provision the IPAM server.